installation, which is a simple version of PP Panic's tutorial, and PP Panic's tutorial, which is liquid colors tutorial. I'll link that in the description. And instead of randomly creating the brush starting point, I have used hand tracking from MediaPipe. This is how it goes. And in the original tutorial, PP Panic has used like noise, but for my tutorial I'm going to use hand tracking because I want to make this an interactive installation. And yeah, this is the network. This is MediaPipe setup. This is render network, and this is a feedback loop, and this is like post-processing to like add more effects to achieve what we are trying to achieve. And let's get started by deleting everything. Okay, for the first step, I followed this tutorial from Torrent Black and Smith, and I'm going to link this also in my description. And you can follow along the tutorial, but it's like a more in-depth video, so you should watch it to like learn how MediaPipe works, and also like learn what can you use like other things other than hand tracking, like face tracking, pose tracking, object tracking, everything else, to like get a more in-depth insight. But for my tutorial, I just followed the part of hand tracking, and you can find the plugin on the first link of their tutorial, which is here, which is the GitHub link. And once you click here, you have to go to the release section, click on the release section, go to the bottommost part, and you have to download only this file, which is release.zip. I already downloaded it, so I have it in my laptop, and you have to extract it. And now in this folder you'll have like a TOW file, MediaPipe TOW file, and it has all the examples of how to use each like face tracking or hand tracking, but we don't need that. We just need this folder, and this is like a very important step. So you need this folder exactly where your project file is. So you're gonna copy this folder and paste it exactly where your where your project file is. So suppose this is my project file. I have already pasted the Toxis folder here, so they have to be in the same folder. Now go back to your project file, and you have to drag this MediaPipe talks and also hand tracking talks into your project file. That's it. And once you have both of this toxes here, select on the MediaPipe container, and in the common page go to enable external talks, turn it on, and then select the path for MediaPipe talks, and then go to MediaPipe here. And as we only need to detect our hands, we are gonna turn off everything else. So yeah, that's it. And then we have to connect this talks to our hand tracking talks, and you have to find the right output, which is this one, which says output to dat hands, and connect it to our hand tracking. And now we have a lot of hand outputs from our hand tracking too, but we have to find the helpers output. Yeah, the helpers output has like the distance between pinch point. So we're gonna add a select job here, and you can see all the parameters that we can get from from the helper's output, and then add a null here. And then add a, yeah, so this is the setup for our MediaPipe, that's it. And then start with our actual network, which has the brush. We are going to start with a constant chop, and in this constant chop I'm going to add like 3 channels. First constant will be resolution width, resolution height, and the third one will be time. So this is going to make this job of making the networking very easy, like making the network very easy, because we are going to give the values from this constant as reference to most of the operators. So I'm going to set it up to 1280, 1280 to 720. This is just for my project, but you feel free to set it up according to whatever resolution you want and whatever is compatible with your software. And for time, add apps time dot seconds. Yeah, that's the constant chop. And let's add a circle sop. And as this is our brush point, like starting point, we are going to use the distance between the pinch points for our radius. So we are going to give a chop reference, and for the center I'm only going to use the x and y, which is the pinch midpoint x and y. Yeah, we have not used the z value because we have already assigned the distance between our pinch point as the radius, and all the x value does is determines the distance of the circle, like, and as far the circle is on the x, it's gonna be smaller, and as close it's gonna be to the screen, it's gonna increase. And that's what we are doing basically with the radius also, by just counting the distance between the pinch points. So it's gonna complicate it, so that's why we're not going to use dz. And yeah, now to see the circle, we're gonna add a render network, and let's start with adding a geometry comp. And to see the geometry, we are going to add a light comp. To record this, we are going to add a camera, and to render this all, we are going to add a render top. Then we are going to add a null to our render network, and place it far away and turn on the display. Yeah. Now go to the render and comment page, and then as you can see, the resolution is already 1280 by 720. Let's change the pixel format to 32-bit float, RGBA. Yeah. And let's add a constant matte, because our circle is white and I want it to be colorful. So we're gonna color map it by adding a noise. And let's go to the comment page, to the resolution, and here we use our constant values to give the chop reference. This is just because we don't want our visuals to be pixelated, and use 32-bit float. Yeah. Then go to noise and set the period to 20. Go to transform and add translate. The z value, add apps time dot seconds. Yeah, but as you can see, it moves too fast, so we're going to slow it down by multiplying it by 0.1. and then go to noise and turn off the monochrome, and now you can see the values changing slowly. Like you can see a lot of colors, and that's what we want. So we're gonna drag this noise on color map and then this constant on the geo and select power material, and then you can see, yeah, this is pretty good. And yeah, now let's start with our feedback loop. Let's add a null here and then add a composite, and in composite let's select max operation as maximum, then add a feedback operator. Let's connect it to our network and drag this composite on target top of feedback, and let's see. Okay, we can see it, but it's not as smooth, so we're gonna add a let's, oh no, we're gonna add a, but before that we're just gonna select feedback and check our resolution, and just to be more cautious I'm gonna add chop reference here and pixel format to be 32-bit, and let's add a keyboard and chop, and reference this to the pulse reset. Oh, oops. Chop reference, and then you're gonna see a more clear. The edges are more sharper compared to before. Now let's add a blur here. Now filter size, increase the filter size to 23, and then also add a transform because I want to scale the size of the brush a bit. Yeah, and then let's add a displace. For the second input of displace, we are going to add a slope from our blur here and for the slope we are going to keep the strength to 2 and the sample step to 0.515, and then add a blur again here after the slope, and let's keep the pre-shrink and filter size to the maximum value, and then connect this as the second input. This is what you get. Let's add a blur here. And let's keep the values of blur as whatever it is default, and then let's add a level because we want it to disappear a little bit. So we add a level and set the black value to black level to 0.001 and brightness to 0.999. And then in our composite, make sure the level is above the null. So let's do that. And this is what we get. add a blur after our feedback, and again keep the pre-shrink and filter size to max, and then add a slope here. So we add a slope because it is used to highlight the areas of high contrast and also like rapid changes in brightness or color. It's basically used to detect the edges in the visuals or whatever images we are trying to create. Then in the slope, let's put the sample step to 5 and 5, and the resolution should be whatever is the strength should be whatever is our maximum resolution, so it's 1280. Yeah. Now after the slope we add noise, and in our noise we are gonna keep the parameters 1400 for seed, for period 1.05, harmonics is 3, harmonic spread is 2, and harmonic gain is 0.98, and exponent is 1, amplitude is 5, offset is 0.586. Yeah, and turn off the monochrome. So originally for this tutorial, PP Panic connected the slope to the noise for the second input also, but I get a little pixelation, so I add a blur here. Making sure that resolution is seen everywhere. So that we don't get a pixelated. Also, in the original tutorial of PP Panic, they added a lot of parameters after the noise, and I think they use like image filters from palette, but for me this works fine, so I didn't feel like the need to add more parameters here, like more operators here. And feel free to like change the parameters in the noise to like make it according to whatever feels right for you, but you can also add a ramp to make a custom palette. I just use some values that felt were okay, then blue. Yeah, then add a lookup here and connect the second output to ramp, and then yeah, you get custom color palette for your visuals. And That's how you create this simulation. And yeah, so feel free to add a comment in the comment section if you are stuck somewhere while making this network, or if you have any doubts, and I'll reply to you. And also make sure to like this video and also subscribe. Thank you.